In the last video, we talked about what cash discounting is, and in this video, we're going to talk about how it works. And so it's really so interesting because there are actually four distinct steps that happen in order to create a compliant cash discount program. Now, you're going to hear me say the word compliant several times in this training. I'm really not going to dive into it too much other than to say that there definitely are some cash discount programs out there that are just not compliant with, regulations and laws and rules and things like that. And so I want to just use that word here lightly, but there are four important steps that take place in order to make a program that is not only compliant, but also one that makes sense for the business owner. And I really want to cover these four steps because if you don't understand these four fundamental steps, you may get really confused when we talk about maybe specific technology solutions, because again, different technology solutions are going to implement these four steps in different ways, but these four steps are fundamental to all compliant cash discount programs that are right for the business owner. So let's start out talking about these four steps to kind of give you that big picture awareness. And then we can always dig into a little bit more detail later on. But this is what you really need to know, just again, to get those first 10 accounts under your belt. Okay. So here we go. Number one, the first thing that has to take place is a price increase. A price increase. Okay. So it's interesting because in your mind, you might think to yourself, well, a price increase, I mean, that sounds like a bad thing. Right? A price increase. We don't want to do a price increase. Well, here's what has to happen. In order to implement a compliant cash discount program, the merchant has to implement a price increase. Now, there are many different ways that a merchant can implement a price increase. Okay? A merchant can implement a price increase by increasing the price, on the sticker, on the menu or on the shelf. The merchant might increase the price by using a sign at the front door and at the register that says, we've implemented a price increase, of X percentage on everything. But there has to be that price increase that takes place. Okay. So the first step in a compliant cash discount program is implementing a price increase. So one of the questions that I always ask when I'm looking at a new technology solution and say, okay, I want to offer cash discounting with this technology solution. The first question I always ask is, how do you implement the price increase, right? How is this implemented? Okay. Do we have signage that we have to put up? Where do we have to put it up? We need to make sure we understand how to implement this price increase so that the business owner can implement it and they can increase their prices. So with a cash discount, they're increasing the price of everything in the store. Okay. Everything in the store, the price is going up on everything in the store. That doesn't necessarily mean we're changing the price on the shelf or on the menu. We could use a sign and just let them know that when you get to the counter, we have a price increase, but we have to implement a price increase. Now, once we have a price increase implemented, the next step is then we implement a cash discount. So we now say, okay, we've implemented a price increase, but if you pay with cash, we are going to charge you less. Okay. Now, what many merchants will do is when they look at their business today, they say, okay, we're pretty happy with the prices that we have right now on our menu, on the shelves. We're pretty happy with our current price point, but we want to take advantage of this opportunity to eliminate the cost of percentage and per item fees when we're doing payment processing. So cash discounting sounds great. So in those situations, usually what happens is that the amount of the price increase and the dollar amount of the cash discount are the same. Okay, so let me give you an example of what I mean here. If I have an item on the shelf that currently sells for $100 and I'm a business owner and I say, hey, I want to eliminate the cost of processing. Okay, well then maybe I will do a percentage price increase of 3.5%, just to use some numbers here. Let's even just say 4% to make the math easy. So I'm going to do a 4% price increase. So the cost of that item now goes to $104, right? Well, then what am I going to do for my cash discount? Well, I'm going to give a $4 cash discount on that item, right? So in other words, the original price was $100. I'm going to do a price increase to take it up to $104. Then I'm going to offer a cash discount that takes it back down to $100. So the net effect when the dust settles with this cash discount strategy is that I'm really still charging the same amount but as I was before, but only when someone pays cash. So again, I was charging $100. I implement cash discount. What that means is you can still buy it for $100, but you got to pay with cash because we've raised the price up, but we've given you a cash discount to come back down to that rate. Okay. Now, it's very easy to look at that and say, well, why wouldn't we just, say it's we're adding something on, Well, you do need to be careful with that because, again, compliance comes into the picture and also salesmanship comes into the picture, okay? People hate, one word that people do not like is the word surcharge, We're going to surcharge you, we're going to add a fee. People say, oh, what is that? Now, it's really the same financial concept here, but when we say it's a cash discount and we've had to implement a price increase across the board, but we still wanted to give that cash discount when you pay with cash, that just makes it a lot more palatable. It sounds better, and more importantly, it's compliant, okay? There is a difference. You can do a surcharge program, and we're going to get to that in another video and touch on that concept, but a surcharge is one thing. A surcharge is just we're adding something on when you use a credit card. And there are very specific stipulations and rules with surcharge programs that make them less desirable from a profitability perspective, from a savings perspective, and even from an implementation perspective, from a technology perspective. There's a lot of downsides there. And so, sometimes surcharging is the right program. And again, we'll talk about that. But within the context of cash discounting, in order to make that work, that's where you have to do two things. It's not just let's add something. It's two things. We are increasing the price on everything. And again, we might be doing that with a sign at the counter. We might be doing that with a service fee at the register or a non-cash adjustment. We might be doing that with something along those lines at the register, but we have a sign up that's saying we're increasing the price. Then we are lowering the price with a cash discount when people pay with cash. So again, many different ways to structure it. And again, you'll notice that as you look at different technology solutions. Each new technology solution you try with this program, it takes a little getting used to understand exactly how to implement it correctly. But again, the great thing is a lot of these technology solutions today have already solved these problems. They've got a great solution in place, but it is a little bit different every time. But the key questions and the core concepts you need to understand are, number one, how are we implementing the price increase? How are we getting that extra revenue in? Okay. And then number two is how are we implementing the cash discount? So two more concepts. We're going to break this up. Let's get to these last two concepts in the next video.